A triumph of diplomatic good sense culminates at the Foreign Office when, in the presence of the Prime Minister and the Secretary of State for War, Poland and Soviet Russia sign an agreement of unity. General Karski signs on behalf of Poland and thereby settles differences that previously existed.
We have re-established the ability to decode German naval communications. According to last night's intercept, the German Atlantic Fleet is cutting its deployment off southern Iceland. Half of the 9th and 11th U-boat squadrons will continue guarding the North Atlantic corridor. The other half will be sailing for the Horn of Africa in the next 48 hours.
Heading south for the winter, eh?
Inform Joint Africa Command immediately. Give Monty something to spoil his lunch, I say.
Meantime, Naval Command west to direct the American convoys south of the lowest German latitude.
Well done, Dennison. Those pencil chewers of yours up at Bletchley are earning their keep.
I'll inform the PM when I see him this afternoon. Well done.
Thank you. I'll pass that on to the pencil chewers, as you call the men who are winning us the war. Not to mention the part played by the Polish underground in securing the Enigma machine in the first place.
Yes, yes, as you wish. Anyway, it brings us rather neatly to the next item on the agenda. A courier from the Polish Home Army, Mr. Karski, has just arrived in London. He's requested an urgent hearing on a matter which apparently can't wait until his debriefing. He's waiting outside with a chappie from the Polish government in exile here in London. What's his name?
Ziegelboim. Shmuel Ziegelboim.
Oh, yes. Trips off the tongue. Please invite them in, David.
Szmuel, usiądź. Irytujesz mnie.
The committee will see you now.
Welcome, gentlemen. I'm afraid we don't have long, but I understand that you wish to raise an urgent matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I shall be brief. You will not want to believe what I have to tell you, so I brought photographs for you to see the truth for yourself.
Can I have the first slide, please? The Germans have been rounding up Jews from all over Poland and transporting them east. We thought they were being taken to the forced labor camps. Then we started getting reports that they were being slaughtered. Exactly where did these photographs come from?
Some I took myself, the rest were taken by the others in the Home Army.
I couldn't come to you with a rumor of mass murder. I had to be sure. So I bribed a Ukrainian guard to take me into the camp at Auschwitz. What I'm about to tell you, I've seen with my own eyes. By the time they arrived at the camp, they've been 2 or 3 days without food or water. They're mostly women and children, the sick and the old. The fittest are taken to the barracks to be worked to death. Most are sent directly to the crematorium, where we waited. Can I have the next slide, please? They thought they were to be disinfected, and they undressed and walked to their death in the gas chambers. The crematorium above is fitted with 5 triple incinerators. In 4 hours, there is nothing left, except the wedding ring or the gold fillings, which are pried from their teeth before the bodies are burned. This is a death factory, built to murder 5,000 people a day.
They are killing our people. Please, I beg you, destroy these camps. Stop that nightmare.
Thank you, Mr. Karski, for a most graphic presentation. If the committee feels it needs any further information on this matter, we'll take it up again when we receive your full report next week. Thank you both for coming in. Open the shutter, please, David.
Przepraszam. Poniosło mnie.
Nie przejmuj się. Zdjęcia i tak przekonają Brytyjczyków.
Well, that must be the finest example of Polish war diplomacy to date. Now, unless anyone has anything else to discuss, this matter is closed.
But don't you think we should at least look at Mr. Karski's claims?
Mr. Denniston, this is not the first time our Polish colleagues have sought to stiffen our resolve with an exaggerated account of so-called German atrocities. I'm quite certain it won't be the last.
But the Polish intelligence...
Polish intelligence, Mr. Denniston, is a contradiction in terms. The matter, Mr. Denniston, is on the record. Now, if you don't mind, I have a war to win.
With the greatest respect to our chairman, William, I don't think we can dismiss Mr. Karski's account so lightly. He was clearly speaking from first-hand experience, and his evidence is, shall we say, convincingly substantiated by a number of our own intelligence sources on the ground.
Well, I agree with Seeley. Aerial reconnaissance has shown up a number of installations that we've had some difficulty in, well, shall we say, understanding. Originally, we thought they were forced labour camps. Given the number of train movements, they really don't seem to have that much accommodation.
Gentlemen, why do you think the Poles have suddenly acquired this overriding concern for the Jews? You imagine they've suddenly taken to defending the underdog, seen the light, or have they come by some concern for what I believe are being referred to as human rights? No. I think not. There's one thing the Poles have a sense for, it's when they're about to get divided up between the big boys. Being partitioned 4 times in 100 years gives you a bit of a nose for it, I should think. When we win this war, and they know as well as we do that we are winning this war, they're going to be on everyone's front lawn when the new battle lines are drawn. This time, though, to be the Allies on one side and on the other, Russians is the right answer. And the Poles have guessed that we've reached, shall we say, an understanding. When the music stops, Poland is going to be on the Russian chairs. Good guess, as it happens.
I've not been told that we've made a deal with that lunatic Stalin.
With the utmost respect, see, Stuart, you should look to acquire some better placed sources in Whitehall. I spoke to the Prime Minister yesterday. Stalin may be a lunatic, but he's our lunatic. And that lunatic Stalin wants Poland.
But the Poles despise the Russians.
Almost as much as they fear the Germans. So they're trying to draw us in with these tales of genocide in the hope that we'll send in the cavalry, which, quite by coincidence, will mean that Poland is better placed to resist liberation by the Red Army. Let me remind you, gentlemen, this war is far from over. If we get involved in Poland, there's no knowing how Comrade Stalin will respond. And we need the Russians far more than we need the Poles, or any number of Jewish civilians.
But we cannot knowingly stand by and let this happen. Since we broke the Enigma codes, we've seen dozens of SS reports indicating a deliberate program of extermination. And now we have first-hand evidence.
Let me remind you, we're not here to promote some fanciful notion of humanity or to nurse our consciences. Our duty is to serve the interests of this nation and of the British Empire. It's immaterial whether or not you believe Mr. Karski. His evidence is simply unacceptable. It will therefore be minuted that this meeting considered that Mr. Karski's unsubstantiated allegations were exaggerated in order to elicit Allied support for the Polish underground. Moreover, there will be no reference to this matter in our briefing report to the War Cabinet. The Prime Minister is already overburdened with far more important matters. Is that agreed?
Yes, I agree. We cannot afford to divert resources from our military objectives. Every war has its civilian casualties.
Well, these are not casualties of war. They're victims of genocide. But he must need go that the devil drives.
And
we have no choice in the matter.
I need more than acquiescence.
Very well. Let it be noted then that you have my support.
This is a policy decision. I can't stand in your way.
Very wise. Good. That's settled then. Now, turning to our agenda. Item 5, SOE resources. And the budget for the Special Operations Executive